friends, welcome back to my channel. It's Megan and today is a haul of everything that I've received in the past couple of months here. So we're just gonna catch up on everything from, I believe, February to now. I could be mistaken, this could be January to now, but it is at the very least February to now, which is about 2 months. So plenty of things to show you today. First and foremost, we always kick it off with the special edition books from book boxes, so if you don't want spoiled for those, skip to this time. Alright, kicking it off with our Illumicrate books. I don't know what order, or don't remember what order these came in, so bear with me. But our Illumicrate books from January through March were Voyage, To Cage a God, and Fathom Folk. I think I accidentally did those in the correct order, so there we go. Then for Fairy Loot Adult, we have not received our March book yet, but our February book was A Fate Inked in Blood. And I love the artwork on this character. Just absolutely stunning. And for our YA fantasy fairy loot books were A Fragile Enchantment, which I'm actually currently reading and enjoying. It's about a girl who gets hired to be the Prince Regent's, not therapist, tailor. I could not think of the word. I don't know why. She gets hired to be his tailor, and that is where we are at right now. I don't know much further than that. I'm only about 10% in. Then we had A Tempest of Tea, which I've heard gives Six of Crows vibes, so we'll see about that. And then we also had The Crimson Moth, which I believe is listed as something else. I'm pulling it up because I think it's listed as something else on my Libby app. Heartless Hunter. So it has varying titles depending on what publisher it comes from. I'm assuming the US edition is Heartless Hunter and the UK edition, because this is Fairy Loot, is The Crimson Moth. But I could be wrong, but that's just what I'm gathering. And the next set of books are special edition books that were pre-ordered. These have already been announced and shown, so I'm not worried about spoilers here, but in case you are, just remain till that time. And if you're not, then here they are. So first up we have Tomorrow and Tomorrow and Tomorrow. Very excited about this one because it is video game themed, and I've recently got back into my video games. I'm playing Stardew on my Switch while I listen to audiobooks. Such a great evening. Then we have A Dark Star Burning, Ash Falls White. Then we have The Ruined, which is the third book in the fourth book in the quartet. So I believe this is the final book of the Beautiful Quartet by Renee Ahdieh. Then we have the sequel to Empire of the Vampire by Jay Kristoff. And finally, we have the sequel to Fourth Wing, which is Iron Flame by Rebecca Yarros. And sorry if my nose is red, I just sneezed. But speaking of Rebecca Yarros, I just got to meet her this past weekend. Such a cool experience. She is the sweetest human ever, and she is so funny. She was telling this story about Sarah J. Maas, and you just kind of have to experience it to get the full scope of the story, but it's really funny. And I did get 2 book plates from her that were personally signed by her, so I'll be able to add those to my Iron Flame and Fourth Wing books respectively. So very excited about that. So that is it for the special editions / spoilers. Again, the second batch weren't really spoilers, but I like to preface just in case. Next, we'll move on to all of my pre-ordered books. So these are the books that I pre-ordered for, I think some might be from January, but mostly February through March pre-orders, and then a few April. First, we have Saints and Monsters by Ellen McGinty, and I don't know at all what this is about, but it sounds mythological. Then we have Lore of the Wilds. I love this cover art. Absolutely stunning. Then we have the Book of Doors, which kind of gives me the same vibes as the Starless Sea in a way, which is why I grabbed it. And I'm very excited for this one. It looks like it will be like a good fantasy literary fiction of sorts. Then we have the Book of Love, which just also looks stunning. I believe it is a fantasy following all the different types of love. And then we have An Education in Alice. This is going to be perfect for spooky season. It looks dark academia, and it just, again, looks perfect for spooky season. Not much more to say, but I'm excited for it. Then we have The Cursed Rose, which is the third book in, yeah, book 3 in the Bone Spindle series. And if you haven't heard of the Bone Spindle, it is a retelling of Sleeping Beauty mixed with Indiana Jones, and I have not read it yet, but that like synopsis makes me so excited to eventually pick up that book. So of course I had to buy the whole series. Then we have Fate Be Changed, which is a twisted tale, which is the series of Disney fairy tale retellings, and they ask a question and answer that question. So for example, I read the Rapunzel one, and I think it was like, what if Rapunzel's mother Gothel drank from the wrong flower or something like that, or pulled from the wrong flower. I forget exactly the like switch, but this one is, what if the witch gave Merida a different spell? So it just kind of answers the question and puts a twist on that retelling. And then I have a few other pre-orders, but these are well, some of them are pre-orders, some of them are just right out purchases, but these are my Star Wars books I have gotten recently. First we have The Force Collector by Kevin Schnick. I don't believe this was a pre-order. I think I just saw it. It was, yes, it was at a used bookstore for 70% off, so I nabbed that. And these ones were pre-orders. They are part of the High Republic series. They're in phase 3. So phase 1 is Light of the Jedi. Phase 2 is the prequel to Light of the Jedi. And then phase 3 is the sequel to Light of the Jedi. It's in the same order as the release of the original 3 trilogies. So it came out with the original trilogy, and then the second trilogy was the prequel to the original trilogy. And then the third trilogy with like The Force Awakens was the sequel to the original trilogy with A New Hope. So anyways, getting back to the pre-orders, I got Escape from Valo, which is the junior novel. So each phase comes out with an adult novel, a junior novel, which is like a middle grade, and then a YA novel. And this is the YA novel, Defy the Storm. So I got those two. I believe I hauled the adult book already in a recent haul, and then each one comes out with like an audiobook and like several graphic novels and stuff as well. And then I also picked up Tales of Enlightenment, which was a pre-order as well. It is there's a magazine or like production of some sort that George Mann put these snippets of like short stories in, and so it's just a combination of all those pulled from the magazine into one book. Publication, not production, that's the word I was looking for. Then I have just some books that I picked up just because there weren't pre-orders. I just saw them at the bookstore and grabbed them. Most of these are from a used bookstore nearby that is really cheap. So I got The Way of Kings by Brandon Sanderson. I love Brandon Sanderson's Skyward series, so I thought it was about time I picked up the other series he has. And there's the Stormlight Archive and another one that I'm blanking on. But this one was so floppy. I was like, this is such a good floppy fantasy, so I needed to have it. And then I grabbed A Rogue of One's Own, which is a sequel to a series I already own. And then finally I picked up Persuasion because it's another classic. If you didn't know, I started a goal this year of reading either a classic or a nonfiction every month. I've been on par with that so far, and so my next month is a classic, and I'm going to be picking up Persuasion in May is the goal. So I had to actually purchase the book in order to read it. Then I also have entered my poetry era. It's so funny because I was actually at the store, at the used bookstore, and saw several of these for cheap, and I was just grabbing them off the shelves, and I texted my best friend Leah that I am entering my poetry era, and then literally the next day Taylor Swift came out and announced that she's going to be having the Tortured Poets department, and I was like, she did this for me. I have 4 books here. Love Her Wild by Atticus, The After Party by Jenna Prickrill. Both of these I just saw in the used section for like $2 each, so that's why I snagged them. And then these I've seen and like talked about before. So I got The Princess Saves Herself in this one. I've heard that's a really good kind of gateway into poetry, as well as Ruby Kaur's The Sun and Her Flowers. I also have Milk and Honey, but I believe I've already talked about that one and hauled it previously, and so this is like the companion or sequel to The Sun and, or sorry, Milk and Honey. And then I picked up a few manga. Well, actually, rather, my parents found these at a Goodwill or yard sale or something, and so they grabbed them for me. I got volumes 7 and 10 of Jujutsu Kaisen, and I got 3 and 6 of Spy Family. Is it Spy X Family or just Spy Family? Either way, I'm looking forward to reading this. Speaking of books gotten for me, I also entered a like book swap for a local book meetup, and the books I got in that book swap were For the Love of the Bard, which I have read and adore. It's in a small town where this town is obsessed with Shakespeare, and it's following basically a summer theater, which I adored because I went to school for theater. And then I also got The King Will Kill You, which is book 3 of the Princess Will Save You series, which I believe is a gender-bent retelling of The Princess Bride. And last but not least is my stack of books that I received for review. So these are just sent by publishers. I won them in giveaways, so on and so forth. This one is Heavenbreaker by Sarah Wolf. This was sent to me for review by Entangled Teen, so I'm very grateful to them and very excited about this. I've actually already pre-ordered this book because I'm so excited about it. I love Sarah Wolf. Sarah also wrote the Find Their Bones series, which I really enjoyed. And so I've heard good things about this one. Again, I already pre-ordered it, so very excited to read this one. And then the following 3 were Goodreads giveaways. So I got One Night Can Change Everything, The Breakup Pact. Ooh, I love the coloring on that one. And Funny Story by Emily Henry. Love me some Emily Henry, so very excited about this one. So lots of good books here, lots of good stuff that I've received in the past couple months. Stay tuned next week for another Mythical Mail, and I'm hoping to do a Taylor Swift inspired video based on the Tortured Poets department, so stay tuned for that, and I'll see you guys in my next video. Bye friends.